So, hi everyone. My name is Amanda Schaefer, and I'm the head of client success here at Sterling. I'm coming up actually on my 15th year here with the organization. So, as Alla mentioned, our team is focused on our industrial clients, especially heavily concentrated in the energy, oil and gas, and utilities sector within my team. We are thrilled to be part of this event, and even more so to have two really amazing clients join us on this virtual stage. With that, we actually have Natasha Smith with Phillips 66 joining, as well as Mike Brown from Siemens Energy. I believe they are joining as I'm talking. Awesome. So Siemens Energy and Siemens Corporation as a whole have been longtime strategic partners with us for over 10 years. Phillips 66 actually recently joined the Sterling family last year. I'll touch on this a little bit, but at the heart of our mission, it's all about keeping our employees, our clients, and their employees safe. And so with that, we are very appreciative of the trust both of these companies have placed in Sterling to do just that and truly allow us to be an extension of their brand as we work with their top talent to get them through the screening process quickly, compliantly, and in a mobile first way. So before we dive into the topic at hand, I really would love Natasha and Mike to both introduce themselves and kind of touch high level on the role that they have at their organization. So Natasha, if you want to start.
Hello, my name is Natasha Smith. I'm the recruiting operations supervisor here at Phillips 66. I've been with the company about 10 years, all within HR, with a little bit of focus on technical support kind of embedded within our HR business. So in my current role, I am responsible for managing the pre-employment team, those processes, and the tools that we use to get candidates through the door. I'm also the system administrator and responsible for the recruiting technology and all of the integrations we have globally from our careers website through our background screening vendors and some other recruiting integrations as well. So happy to be here.
Just to name a few things, right? It sounds like you do it all over there.
Yep,
So
yep.
Awesome to have you. Mike, how about you?
Thanks, Amanda. Mike Brown. I have been with Siemens, the parent company, for the last 12 years. And over the last 18 to 20 months or so was intrigued by the opportunity to work on a spinoff. So Siemens Energy is now spun off from the parent company and has been an official listed company in Germany now since October of last year. So an independent company. And so it's a little bit of the best of both worlds coming from the parent, but taking a decidedly new path. And I am the global head of talent acquisition for the new company.
Well, thank you, Mike. Definitely a journey over on the Siemens side, but exciting stuff, similar to, kind of the ventures on the Halliburton side. So as I mentioned, we're very proud to support both organizations at Sterling and really welcome both of your perspectives as we dive into a topic that I think has gained more and more momentum when attracting talent, right? I think, the compensation, the benefits package is there, but I think more and more of the talent's actually demanding that culture, right? They want to enjoy where they work. They want to, have that work-life balance. They want to kind of see a reflection of what it's going to be like to be at that company through that interview process. And I think that's actually more of the demand in the past, like year to 2 years. And so knowing that all kind of revolves around culture and then understanding the role that we play. So, often we're the very last piece of the puzzle before someone actually joins your organization. You conduct several interviews, right? There's a lot of screening process, a lot of time being invested, hours upon hours of interviews to find that ideal person. You extend that offer. And now here comes the background screening, right? Which you're hoping that everything goes off without a hitch, that it's, that they're a good egg, but nonetheless, it's kind of that first representation of what it's going to be like now that they've accepted kind of the offer to join your organization. And so Natasha, kind of first question for you, well, we are the first stop on the candidate to employee transition. The culture of the company and how you operate is often shown through the very first interaction you have with the candidate, right? So even before they make it to us. And it actually starts with the job posting and any preliminary interviews that you're doing. What do you feel Phillips 66 does differently in the recruiting process to truly showcase the culture that you have created to get them excited, to get them engaged, and kind of demonstrate your company mission of safety, honor, and commitment at Phillips 66?
Yeah, so I think a good example of that for us is we're really excited about showcasing our recently published human capital management report that we recently launched a few months ago. We're providing a lot of information out there about how we're building a high-performing organization powered by the employees that we already have who are committed to our vision of providing energy and improving lives. It's showing data to the public around our inclusion and diversity efforts, our workforce demographics, and then the policies and practices that are helping us connect our people to our vision and strategy. So the report's really telling a compelling story about who we are, what makes us a great place to work, how we're determined to get even better, and hopefully that's getting candidates really excited to work for such a great place.
No, that's fantastic. And I think the level of transparency that early on in the process actually says a lot for your organization. So huge kudos to Phillips 66 for that. Mike, same question for you. What do you feel sets Siemens Energy apart in the recruitment process that allows your culture to shine through and your respective mission of kind of serving society in the Siemens Energy brand?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think what we're trying to focus on is just getting the basics right. I think it's easy in the talent acquisition space, especially now with all the technology available, to outthink yourself and to overthink some of these processes. So we try to keep it as simple as possible. And I think one of the things that people really enjoy and perhaps miss a little bit is a person to talk to. So we always make sure that, a lot of our processes are automated, and a lot of, most of the applicant tracking system, the communications might be triggered based on, gates that people travel through. But once we get to a point where we want to interview somebody, we try to make it as personal as possible. And we want the candidate to feel like the recruiter, and then by extension, the Sterling folks, that they feel like that there's a person they're talking to, not a black box. And it's easy to say, it's hard to accomplish at scale when people are busy, and especially throw a little bit of a pandemic in there just to make it more interesting. But I think the reality is that we're really trying to focus on a personal connection, because we feel like people will join our company for the reason I think that a lot of people are going to be drawn to the energy business. It's an interesting and a cool place to work, but it's also doing real good for the world and for the future. And I think that's exciting to people, and you want them to feel that sort of sense of engagement and energy right away. And we feel that one of the ways to do that is to have a competent, interested, and excited recruiter talking to you as a candidate.
No, I could not agree more with that. And especially as much as we're all dependent on technology and we need it, let's not forget that we're all in the people business. I don't care what industry that you're in, the most value is with actually the folks that you're attracting, the employees that have been with you for forever, and you want them to be excited and passionate about the work that they're doing. So very solid points, Mike. From a technology standpoint, Mike, we are the first impression, you touched on this, that the candidate has of your organization once they've accepted the offer. And as such, we do take pride in delivering a solution that feels like an extension of your organization. So, you want the people, aspect of it, you want someone there to help them, but you also want the technology to be easy, because that is truly, they don't want it to be complex. They want it to kind of do it all. And so with that, when you think through the screening process and the candidate's involvement, what tools or elements do you find most critical to deliver that best experience to your candidates, to make it as smooth as possible while still going through the thorough vetting that you need to do?
Well, I think what we try to do up front is let people know, and honestly, most people are familiar with the fact that these are things that need to be done from a compliant perspective, and so it's usually not a surprise to candidates that they have to go through some process. And I think that actually works to our advantage, because the process doesn't always work as smoothly everywhere else they worked. So if we can deliver something that's incrementally better than their last job, I think we're already off to a good start. We try to keep it simple for the candidate up front. Sometimes things do get a little crazy behind the curtain with the recruiter and the folks from Sterling trying to fix things. Maybe there's a glitch with the technology, or a link doesn't work or something like that. But we try to keep it super simple with the candidate to say, next step is we're going to send you this link. You're going to click on it. You're going to follow the directions. If you have any questions, please let us know. And I think we've worked hard to simplify the process up front. It's quite complicated behind the scenes, as Amanda, you well know, with all the things that need to get done. But I think
Absolutely.
if the candidate can consume something that feels simple up front, then I think we keep some of that complexity away from them, and 99.9% of the time we have no issues at all. Everything works, and that's a nice thing to be able to do, because people get to that point and sometimes they're not quite sure yet exactly how they're feeling. They think they want to take the offer, and if something goes wrong, it gives them sometimes the excuse to say, well, I'm going to back out. So we really need that last mile to be a good one. And that's why we feel really good about the relationship we have with you guys on that front.
No, well, thank you for that. Yeah, candidates don't need to know that it takes a village, right? It takes a village on both sides, but more importantly than that, it takes a partnership between organizations. It's naturally, again, it's a people business. You're trying to get folks through the process. You're trying to adhere to your requirements, right? You have to find that perfect balance. So we definitely appreciate the partnership with both of your organizations kind of going through that. Natasha, turning it back to you, we know that, Mike and the Siemens team have been with us for quite some time. You are newer to the Sterling family, having joined us last year. Our professional services and implementation teams are big believers of continuous improvement, Six Sigma approaches, where it's our goal to find efficiencies and make the program better, right? We are not believers when we're onboarding new clients to kind of lift and shift or a copy and paste approach. Let's take that deep dive. Let's understand, what you have today and ultimately how we can make it better. And so, with that, what is the most impactful efficiency gain for your candidates since joining Sterling? And what has that amounted to in terms of either time to fill or just overall candidate or recruiter satisfaction for that matter, and that kind of candidate to employee transition?
Yeah, so when we implemented Sterling last year, we moved forward with an integration from our applicant tracking system, which is SAP SuccessFactors. With that integration, we were able to bring across candidates' personal details, education, employment, etc., that was already entered as part of their profile and their application from Phillips 66. And it maps right over to Sterling to fill out most of their e-invite. So in that, it's definitely saved a lot of time from our candidates' perspective. It's removed duplicate data entry for us, for my pre-employment team, as well as the candidates, and definitely ensures data accuracy when possible. So when we talk about how that may impact time to fill, I know we're pretty new to the Sterling family. I can say our turnaround time has been above targets for the last quarter or two that we've been around, and I know that will continue to be the case, so we're excited about that. We have a great strategic partnership with our client success team. I'm confident that we'll continue moving the needle in the right direction. I'd also say Sterling's advanced technology and their commitment to innovation was a big reason why we chose to move forward. We were one of the first energy companies to really move the needle as far as our digital transformations. And that was a big decision point when going through this process last year, was trying to find a vendor that was committed to not only the compliance and the candidate experience, but also the innovative technology. So we're very excited about that.
Great. No, thank you. And I'm happy but not shocked to hear that the client success team is meeting our expectations. We take a very hands-on approach with our clients and really just try to get to know each other. It's not a transactional relationship at Sterling. We really do want to be an extension of your organization, an extension of your team, quite honestly, that when you need something, we're there. It goes back to Mike's comment about people. There's people behind any great system, any great process. And sometimes when things do happen, and inevitably they will, you need to know those people are there to support you. So thank you for that. So I know we are up on time. So just, quick closing comments. I would say, Mike, Natasha, I'll turn it over to you just for a few moments each, but just, kind of looking ahead for the balance of this year as the competition for talent kind of doesn't go down any, right? Especially as the pandemic is still technically upon us, hopefully getting better in some areas, but, it's all forced us to work and think a little bit different. What kind of words of wisdom do you have kind of for the audience as you plan for the rest of this year, next year, kind of like a quick tip, if you will, for the folks to consider?
Natasha, go ahead.
Thank you. I would say, just mentioning earlier around the human capital management report that we launched, taking a look at how we can move the needle in that space and continue to showcase the work that we're doing after we've evaluated our numbers. And we are in the middle of initiating a new system, Hired Score, that's a screening and sourcing platform to make it easier and faster to find quality candidates. We're also implementing one of their features for mass hiring. So we're trying to remove the unconscious and conscious bias from our hiring processes. So we're extremely excited about that. That's definitely in one of our top innovations this year that we're excited to launch pretty soon.
Very cool. Very intrigued by that, actually. So awesome. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, just quickly, and Amanda, you already know this, but you guys are already doing background checks for us for contingent labor. And we have this idea, and I think probably a lot of other companies are heading in this direction too, that talent acquisition should no longer be bifurcated along contingent versus full time. So we've got this idea, perhaps crazy, to integrate contingent labor and full time labor under the same umbrella and create a total talent acquisition organization. So we might not do all the recruiting of contingent labor, obviously ourselves with our in-house recruiters, but to manage those channels, which typically have been managed by procurement in many organizations. And with the scale of contingent labor and contract labor continuing to escalate, it does not make sense all the time to have nobody from HR really paying the same kind of attention to that kind of hiring that we pay to the other. So we're doing a good job on the background check part of that. That's not my concern, but the idea of sort of pulling these two streams together and what are the implications for structure and go-to-market technology. So that's an area that we are contemplating at this point, doing more thinking than doing at this point as we try to get up and running operationally. But that's our focus, this total talent acquisition concept over the next year or so.
Very cool. And you said crazy. There's no crazy idea anymore, right? I mean, you got to try different things. You got to challenge the organization. I know other speakers said that. Don't be afraid to challenge, right? You never know what'll actually come out of it. So, well, thank you both so very much for joining me. Again, hopefully we can be on a real stage sometime in the near future. Fingers crossed for that. But I do want to thank you and just remind our audience, before we get to the Q&A, Sterling does have a booth. Please join, please attend it. As Alla mentioned as an insider tip, there is a $250 gift card being raffled off. And so admittedly, your chances of winning are probably pretty good if you attend. So do us a favor and please do. So thank you again, guys. Really appreciate your participation today and just your partnership. You both are fantastic partners, and I'm very grateful to work with you both.
Thank you.